Greetings, my saplings. Okay, so in today's video, we'll be discussing some tips for copying the PARRA and Nike Air Max 1 and also the Air Spiridon. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the tips for copying videos that I make, essentially what we're going to be encompassing in today's video will basically include the confirmed online store list, the full raffle list, and how to get multiple entries into those raffles. Not only this, but at the very end of the video, I did also want to update you guys on some resale predictions. For those of you who are interested in reselling them, but again guys, this is strictly a personal pair for me. I don't know, something about the shoe, I just really like it. Anyway, to kick it off, let's jump right into the online store list. This is confirmed. Some things have changed, unfortunately, as I mentioned in the How to Cop guide, where sneakers and stuff would be getting them through a first come first serve, and Neuer fonts would be doing a first come first serve. Those are unfortunately going to be raffles, and we'll talk about those later. However, we do still have lots of first come first serve chances. First one I wanted to talk about will be blends. Blends will be releasing these at 12 p.m. Eastern time online as a first come first serve. Now, for all of these first come first serves, my biggest tip for them would essentially be to use autofill. Not only this, but right before the drop, keep your mouse hovering over the size selection, and instead of refreshing with the little thing at top, use Command R or F5. It will just save you an extra second, and that really does mean a lot when you're competing with bots. You guys have heard me say that 100 times in the past, but moving on to the next thing. Hanen Shop will be releasing these at 12 p.m. Eastern time or 8 o'clock British time. Both of these stores, I'm pretty sure, do have worldwide shipping, so no matter where you are, you should be able to at least go for these. Moving on to the next release, we have Soulbox. Soulbox will be releasing them like always at 3 a.m. Eastern time. Now, what's a little different from Soulbox compared to the others, Soulbox will be doing a queue in comparison to the other first come first serves. So with the queue, my number one tip would be to use multiple devices on long-term evolution. The reason I don't suggest using the multiple people jig, I've heard that other people have gotten IP banned off of it. Now, I'm not 100% if they track IP addresses, but you know, it's better to be safe than sorry in my book. It's up to you what you want to do though. If you want to use the multiple people jig, feel free and go ahead. Moving on to the next release that I wanted to mention, of course, guys, if you didn't already know, Nike Sneakers is getting them at 10 a.m. Eastern time or 3 a.m. Eastern time for Europe. This will be a first come first serve, but it's actually classified as a Leo. Basically, it's almost like a mini queue, which lasts 2 to 4 minutes, like a very, very small draw. Your essential goal here is just to get in as many accounts as possible within that 2 to 4 minute time range. If you want to hear me go more in depth into the Nike sneakers portion of this, feel free to check out my How to Cop guide, but this video isn't necessarily for going in depth into that release. It's more about just talking about all the releases in general, and we'll get to the raffles as well. Now, moving on to the next release, we have Special Milano Sneakers Club releasing them at a random time, and unfortunately this is for Italy only, so if you happen to be in Italy, here's your chance. Then YME Sneakers also might do an online first come first serve. You would have to follow them for updates because I'm not exactly sure what time they're going to be releasing them at, but again, just follow them. Now, just to mention briefly some in-store first come first serves. If any of you guys happen to be within these locations and you feel like camping out, I'm just going to read off the list to you. First of all, we have 1290 SQM. This will be in Turkey. We have First OG in Switzerland. 24 Kilits BCN, if I even pronounced that right, in Spain. Then BSTN in Germany. Manier USA. The specific locations should be on the screen if I have them. Then also Social Status, which is also USA. Then Woodwood, which is Denmark. So again, if you're within any of these locations, you feel like waking up early, feel free to check out these first come first serve stores. Also, one thing I wanted to mention, tomorrow, if you're watching this the day that the video is being published, you can expect Nike sneakers to do a pass for them, meaning that you will be able to pick them up in store if you reserve them on the app. Now, to know the exact time when they're going to be releasing, I would suggest following Solinks on Twitter and turning on Twitter notifications for them. They'll send out a notification when it actually goes live. It'll be 2 to 3 minutes after it, and after that 2 to 3 minutes, you will have to wait another 12 minutes for it to actually go live because it's 15 minutes from when it gets put on Nike sneakers. I'll also tweet about this, of course, so you guys don't have to worry. Now, moving on to raffles. So, first of all, we're going to talk about how to get multiple entries into raffles, but hold on. I understand a lot of you guys already know how to get multiple entries because you're pros. You guys already know what you're doing, so I'm going to put a time up here. You already know how to make multiple entries, and we're going to be using sneakers and stuff as a way to teach you guys who are new. But if you don't know how to make multiple entries without the algorithm catching you, feel free to stick around. If you do know, feel free to skip ahead. Anyway, to kick it off, for all of you guys who do want to know, For sneakers and stuff, the first thing I wanted to mention, if they ever give you an option to pick up in-store, which most raffles don't, but some of them do, if you have the option to pick up in-store, I always suggest that over online, simply because even though there might be slightly less stock, there is far less competition in comparison to online. So if you ever have the opportunity, I would suggest going for the in-store releases. Now, moving on to the email address. For the email address on most raffles, and in fact all raffles except for sneakers and stuff that I'm going to be mentioning today, instead of using a bunch of different email addresses, all you have to do is add a +1, a +2, maybe a +50. There is no cap to it. It could be anything right before the @gmail.com. However, for sneakers and stuff, this is the only one specifically that I would mention. You just keep them as legitimate email addresses, so it only takes a few minutes to make a couple of other email addresses, so go right ahead and do that if you haven't already. Then also for the phone number, no matter what raffle it is, there's no verification process through the phone number, so go right ahead and put a random phone number in. And if you're wondering, Keith, how are they supposed to contact me? Don't worry, they'll contact you through the email. Even if you use the +1, +2 jig, all those emails, despite it looking like a different email, they go to your main account, so you don't have to worry. Now moving on to the address, all you have to do here is change up the last word just a little bit in each entry. You just have to make sure the characters are different. For instance, you can abbreviate it, you could spell it wrong, stuff like that, add a period perhaps. Not only this, but if you happen to live in a house, now keep in mind you can't do this if you live in an apartment, but if you do live in a house, feel free to add an address line to make it 1B, 1C, maybe 2A, any random thing, it doesn't matter. This will make it appear as a different address, but when they ship it to you, obviously they know to just leave it at your doorstep because it's simply a house. Now also specifically for sneakers and stuff and other sites that ask for payment methods such as End Clothing that we'll talk about later, you will unfortunately have to use different payment methods. So for this, you could borrow payment methods, say you could borrow your wife's, you could borrow your parents' credit cards or so. But if you don't have the option to do this, if you only have one credit card yourself and that's it, feel free to check out privacy.com. It's an awesome place I use to create extra payment methods. But you know, if you don't want to do that, it's completely fine. This is all up to you. Again, I'm not sponsored by them or anything. It's just something that I found from another guy that I saw at a sneaker release actually, and he let me know about this place. Then after you finally entered your raffle and you're looking to make more entries, for most sites I do recommend clearing your cookies just to be safe. It only takes about 45 seconds. But if you really don't want to, I guess you don't have to. I just like to do it to be extra cautious. Alright, so now moving on to all the rest of the raffles. With that out of the way, the first raffle we have is Foot District. Then we also have Neuer Fonts, which is no longer, like I mentioned previously, a first come, first serve. Then also End Clothing, which again, you're going to need a payment method, unfortunately. SVD, unfortunately, you're going to have to be over 18 or at least use an identification number for a person that is over 18. Then we also have Socialism, which is definitely one of my favorite raffles. We have Amongst Few, Concepts, Holy Pop for Italy only, then Livestock for Canada only, Supply Store for Australia only, and then we also have Exhibition. If you're wondering how to access all these, don't worry, I got you guys covered. I gathered all the links for these and also for the Spiridons, because the Spiridons are a little different than these actually for raffles. So if you just go check out my Twitter, which is KeithAdam10, I have all the links up there. Feel free to go check it out. I just wanted to make it super simple for you to just click on every link, enter all your entries there, click on to the next link, enter a bunch of entries there, just to increase your chances to the fullest extent possible with making it super easy for you guys. You know, I'm always trying to look out for your time also. And to conclude the video, I did want to update you guys on some resale predictions. So as I mentioned in my How to Cop guide, there wasn't necessarily much to say, just simply they are going to be profitable, and I'm going to simply be holding that. Both silhouettes are going to be profitable. However, what I did want to add is that I think that the price should drop as we get closer to the release, so don't get scared by that. And then right after the release, just like the Element 87s that just released, they will take a small rise actually. So if they're looking like you might only make a little bit of profit right before the release, don't worry, because after the day of the release, you should see a significant increase. However, I would not recommend holding on to these. I would recommend selling these right as soon as you get them if you don't plan on rocking them. Me though, I plan on rocking them. I don't know about you guys though, but with that, I'll conclude today's video. Feel free to leave a like if you enjoyed, if you perhaps learned a thing or two. Good luck on this release, of course. Feel free to subscribe. Turn on notifications to stay 100% updated on all hyped releases. With that, I'll see you guys later. Have a fantastic rest of your day.